beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and today we're going to do an easy breezy little get ready with me using only the things that I packed for my long weekend makeup bag. This right here, which I will show you the full packing list. I definitely used everything. There may be a brush or two that I didn't use, but in general, I've really mastered the art of not overpacking lately. I felt like I had plenty of options. I definitely was still able to have fun with my makeup, but I wasn't loaded down. I was only away for 3 days. This could very well seem excessive to some people, and you know what? Fair enough. But I feel like I did a really great job. As far as the products go, I know I used every single thing. I want to show you one of the looks that I did because I think that it turned out so cute and I was really, really happy with it. And I just thought it would be fun, even if you don't need help packing a makeup bag or if that part isn't particularly of interest to you, then maybe the get ready with me will be. We're doing a combo today.
It sort of worked out that a lot of these products are my favorites for the month as well. So I'm really doing a combo video, makeup bag, get ready with me, and a bunch of my monthly favorites. I've showed this makeup bag before, but it's become my absolute go-to. It's nothing fancy, but I just love the simplicity of it. And I love this compartment on top where I put a bunch of my tools and brushes. I'm just going to breeze through my packing list really quickly. I have my Flawless finishing touch. That's like my little hair remover, small scissors and tweezers. Then I have a brow pencil, two different brow gels, and a spoolie. I know two brow gels seems extra, but I got a lot of brows. Then I have a foundation brush, a powder brush. This one I use for all over my face. And then I have this little setting brush from Real Techniques that I use for more precision areas like under eye, around the nose. So those are my three like base brushes. Then for face color, I have my little blush brush, this one that I use for cream blush, the Duo Fiber one. And then I have an angled brush for bronzer and this tapered brush for highlighter. So that's really all I need for my face brushes. I have a little comb to separate my lashes after mascara. And then my eyeshadow brushes. I am very dedicated to the blending brush from ColourPop. I've had these for ages. I use them every time I do my makeup. I always have a few of those. These are my two favorite Singe beauty brushes. Now, I love all of my Singe brushes, but these two in particular are must-haves for me every single day. Then this little collection of some other specialty brushes, pencil brush, a little small fine one for under the lash line, and that's all I need. I have everything covered for brushes and tools there. Then in the larger compartment, I have all of my makeup. I also always travel with makeup remover wipes. I do not use these on my face. I just use them while I'm traveling to like wipe my hands off and clean up my area, clean off my products, all that stuff. Obviously, I need my SPF every day. And then this little brush bubble I love. I stash my sponge in here and it keeps my makeup from getting all over the sponge and vice versa, but it's vented so it doesn't get moldy and gross. Then I have my setting spray. As you can tell, I'm very dedicated to this. Don't worry, I already have a backup or two waiting on standby. For my base products, I have the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Foundation. This is also almost gone, but it's just perfect shade, perfect texture. Love it. Then this little cushion foundation for lighter coverage days. This is the shade Gentle Light from M Cosmetics. And my most ride or die concealer. I must have been through 10 of these at this point. This is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Concealer. This is definitely a must-have concealer for me. Next up, one cream blush. This is from Persona Cosmetics. It's the shade Teddy in their cream blush stick. I'm a huge cream blush lover, so I always bring one of those with me wherever I go. And my perfect face palette, this is from Hourglass Cosmetics. It's their holiday palette from several years ago at this point. I think this came out in 2020. It's the Ambient Lighting Ghost Unlocked palette. I have everything I need here: setting powder, bronzer, blush, highlighter. All these shades work for me. I use all of them. Every time I use this palette, I can use all 6 of these shades. It is a travel must have for me. Even though it's discontinued, their new one's good too, but I just love this one. And I only brought two lip products, although I did have a couple floating around in my purse, as one does. But these are my two favorite lip products of the month: this Too Faced lipstick in Sweet Tea and the Fantasy Cosmetica lip oil in Ancient One. Absolutely my two go tos. For eyes, I have, of course, my Ulta matte eye primer and this little Jelly Much shadow in Sage bundle. I always try to bring a Jelly Much or a Super Shock just to switch things up a little bit. They travel well, and it's just a fun way to add a little bit of flair. Then I had a lash curler, some mascara, and this palette combo. I know it doesn't seem like it would make sense in concept, but I'll show you both of these swatched together later. They really do just complement one another so well, and they are my two favorites of the month, my most worn palettes of the month, and my favorite combo of palettes that I've used in a while. So, this is your sign to use Fighter and Flora Story together if you have them. And I just want to point out that I had plenty of room left over in this bag. I definitely could have added more products if I wanted to, if I was going on a longer trip, or if I maybe was going to an event or something. But this was more than enough for a nice long weekend for me.
Before I start putting makeup on, I'm just going to show you a close-up look at my face with no makeup, no filters, no nothing like that, just so that you can see what our starting point is. Also, I just like showing you what my real life skin looks like. It's not perfect, but it's just normal. It's just normal skin, and you also have normal skin. And I think we spend so much time online with people that are showing us filtered skin that even I feel like my skin looks terrible, but you can't, but it's not real. It's not real. So you shouldn't be comparing yourself to filtered skin. And I'm not trying to hate on people who are editing or filtering their photos and videos. That's their business. But I just feel like we need to kind of be aware of that. Don't compare your skin to filtered skin because their skin also doesn't look like that, or else they wouldn't have a filter on it. And like every brand I see posting reels and shorts and photos, the skin is so heavily filtered. And to me, it's so obvious, but I feel like to other people, they may be seeing this and thinking that people really look like that. And they don't look like that. I don't look like that. You don't look like that. Maybe you do. It's okay to just not, just kind of reject that out of your brain a little bit in a way. Okay. That's your pep talk for the day. So here's my skin. See, I have bumps and red spots and sunspots and veins and hormonal redness around my nose. And that's what skin looks like. That's okay. It's okay. And if yours looks like that and has crinkles and wrinkles and, you know, that's how my skin looks. And however yours looks is perfectly good too. All right. Let's just remember that together. Okay. We'll remind each other when we need to. On that note, let's put on some sunscreen. I think this is almost done. I may have to cut this baby open because I was struggling to get sunscreen out of this while I was on my trip, and I was a little bit nervous. So if you have something like this that's in a squeezy tube, just put the cap back on it. Get yourself some scissors, and you can cut the top off like that, see? And then there's definitely another couple of applications in here. So, I mean, look at all that. Tons. So, just FYI. Oh, I just sunscreened on myself. Then I'll just put this in a little Ziploc baggie and leave it next to my skincare on my sink. Then I can get every last drop out of here. So, pro tip, you probably already knew that, but on the off chance that you didn't. And here's why I always cut from the very end like this, because if you leave the screw top on it, you can just set it by your sink and less messy. All right. Now we've got our sun protection on. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of this Bye Bye foundation. This also has SPF in it, but you can't rely on the SPF in your makeup alone to give you enough sun protection. It's a great bonus for me, but it's not enough to rely on. So always wear actual sunscreen. This is just a nice bonus. And I'm using my absolute favorite foundation brush for this. This is the 101 brush from BK Beauty. I have the travel size one. I just like the little mini size, but I love this brush. I like BK Beauty brushes in general, but this is just the ultimate foundation brush for me. I'm actually going to use the same brush to blend in my concealer. And I'm not doing too much concealer today. I've been on a much lighter coverage these days. I didn't want to pack an extra brush just for blending in my concealer. This one works just fine for me, especially because I'm going to go back over with a sponge and do my little detailed blending. Okay, so call me crazy, but I kind of mix these two for all over, just like a quick sort of dab to set everything. And then I go back in with this little setting brush and the lightest shade and just do the under eye area because I do want a little bit more brightness there. That's why I don't mix the two shades. So I still have some radiance and glow to the skin, but my makeup is all set. My setting spray is about tapped out too. I know it's kind of unconventional, but this is just what works for me. I do my foundation and concealer and then set everything. And I use a dry sponge to just sort of like tap everything together. I'm really using my setting spray more as a finishing spray. So what it's doing is it's making the liquid layers, the liquid foundation and concealer layers, and the powder that's on top all kind of like smush and sandwich together. And I find that this just gives me a more skin-like finish. I love this little brush bubble. It's so cute. I know that it might seem extra from the packing portion that I have two different brow gels. The Glossier Boy Brow I use just on its own, and that's more of like a low maintenance. If I'm doing a quickie makeup, then I'll just use Boy Brow on its own because that gel really does the trick of filling in my little uneven spots in my brows better. I feel like the NYX brow glue cements my crazy brow hairs in place more than Boy Brow does, but it doesn't fill in as well. So I like to have a low maintenance and a high maintenance brow option. And when I do the NYX brow glue, I just fill in a little bit of the sparse spots with this ColourPop brow pencil. I've never done like really, really shapely brows. I've definitely let my natural brow take the lead. And that's just what works for me and what I like the most. I really like my natural brows. They suit my face, they suit my style. So I just let them live their lives. I mean, obviously I do some cleaning up and shaping up and filling in, but the natural brow life is what works best for me, at least at this point in time. Maybe I'll change my mind in the future. You never know. I love this angled spoolie. It's from Catrice. It must have come in a set or something. I don't remember getting it, but I really, really like it. I like it better than just the straight spoolies, like the disposable ones that I was using before. Not that I was disposing of them frequently, but I would buy the multi-packs of them, and then when I couldn't clean them anymore, I would just start a new one. But I really like this angled one for some reason. It really works for me. For my bronzer, I mix these two shades together. I'm adding a little bit of dimension and a little bit of warmth, but I like a really subtle bronzer look. I've never been a big contouring type of gal, and I prefer blush over bronzer anyway. But today we're just going all out. Why not? I've been doing my blush like farther back on my cheeks lately. I guess that's more on trend anyway, but I like switching it up. I like to try different techniques. I don't want to feel like I'm always doing the same thing. I don't want to ever be afraid to just experiment, try something new. You know, that's the great thing about makeup is that it washes off. Real life friends who say, "Oh, I could never try this. I could never wear that." Because they think that they'll look silly. And I always bring up 2 points. First of all, you can just try it on in your house at home alone. And if you don't like it, you can just wipe it off. It's not permanent. There's no law that says that every time you do your makeup, it has to be your new personal style and you have to leave the house and be photographed by the paparazzi. No, there's no makeup police gonna make you wear that out. You try it on, you don't like it, take it off. And also, when you're walking down the street, you don't see somebody wearing red lipstick and be like, oh, they look crazy. They look like a clown. I bet you've never once thought that, and nobody's thinking it about you. Other people probably don't even notice. Not to be rude, but you care more about how you look than anybody else does. So don't even worry about it. Just go for it. If you want to try on red lipstick, if you want to try out crazy colors, if you want to put blush on your elbows, you just go for it. Nobody's even gonna care. I promise. You just do you. Mix these two blushes together and just dab a little bit of that on top of that cream blush that I just applied. 3 blushes should be just about enough blush for me. One was never gonna cut it. And then I love this highlighter. This is the Champagne Strobe Light. It's so pretty. Voila. All right, so face is done. I'm probably gonna have to voice over the eyeshadow part because I definitely cannot talk and do my eyeshadow at the same time. Mm, I love this lip oil. It feels so amazing. All weekend long on my trip, I did look combos with both of these palettes, and I bet that you wouldn't think that they look as good together as they do, but these blend so beautifully together. They both have a balance of cool and warm tones. Flora Story is like a neutral, colorful palette, and Fighter is like a colorful, neutral palette. So they just work so, so well together. I did one look that I'm not going to show you today because I'm going to go with the more cool tones today. But I used Shroom, Dawn, and Sage from the Flora Story palette. And then I used Valor, Victory, and Marshall from the Fighter palette. And I did this gorgeous neutral warm tone look. It was super fall-tastic. I was going to a pumpkin patch. Today I'm going to do something a little bit more cool toned. And I'm going to use this Jelly Much shadow in conjunction with these two palettes. If there's one thing I'm going to do, it's be extra with blush and eyeshadow. You should know this by now. Let me zoom in and I'm going to switch to voiceover for the eyeshadow look or else we're never going to get out of here.
Starting off, as I always do with my eye primer, this has been my go-to eye primer for a while now. It's the Ulta Matte Eye Primer. Then I'm going to use my all-time favorite neutral transition shade, Shroom, from my Flora Story palette. I created this shade for this very purpose because it is the exact neutral transition shade that I need. I wear it all the time with so many looks, even if it's the only shadow that I use from Flora Story that day. It's just not too warm, it's not too cool, it's not too dark, it's not too light. It's just the perfect transition shade for me. So I selfishly created it and put it in my palette and I use it all the time. It looks great on the under eye as well. Now I'm going to switch over to the Fighter palette and I'm going to use this dark gray shade called Warrior with that little fluffy detail brush from Singe. I'm just lightly building that up on the outer part of the eye and about halfway through the crease so I get some dramatic dimension, but it's still very soft, very neutral feeling. I'm just using a very small amount on the brush so that I can build it up because this is a very pigmented dark shade. And then I went back in with my crease brush and just blended out with no additional product. Next, I'm going to take a little bit of that Jelly Much shadow called Sage Bundle, and just using my fingertip, I tapped that all over my lid. Now, this is sort of like a base for me, but you could just leave it with just Sage Bundle on there, and that looks really cute too. But here I'm using it to enhance the shimmers that I'm going to put on top. So a little bit of Misty on the outer part of my lids. And then I'm going to go with this bluish shade called Glory from the Fighter palette. And I'm going to put that on the inner part of the lids so that blue and green mix together and almost make a blue-green duochrome effect of their own on my lid. I love how bright and sparkly the effect is. Then I wanted to add a little bit more depth, so I combined Shroom and Sage from the Flora Story palette, and I put that just a little bit on the outer corners and also carried that down just a bit onto the lower lash line as well. I just wanted a little bit more of a dark smoky look, but not too much. I still wanted to be daytime appropriate, but I needed just a bit more depth on the outer part of the eye. One of my favorite techniques, I don't know if you can really justify calling it that, is to take a dark matte shadow on a pencil brush and just smudge it along the lash line on the outer part of the lid. It gives the same sort of effect as a liner would, making that lash line look fuller and darker, but it's just softer and it's also a lot less technically complicated. If you stink at applying eyeliner like I do, you can just smudge a little eyeshadow there and cheat that depth and darkness on the lash line a little bit. And I like that it has a softer feel. This is my finished look with a bunch of my favorite products, a bunch of my favorite product combinations. I like that it's just that medium balance, not too colorful, but not too neutral, not too much coverage, but I'm definitely still getting that full face feeling. I love everything about this look and I just want to keep wearing it.
Very happy with how my finished look turned out. I absolutely love using Fighter and Flora Story together. I've come up with so many cute looks. This is sort of a play on a similar look that I wore actually on my trip, but in that one I used a little bit of Clover. That's the medium grassy green matte shade in Flora Story. I used a little bit of that shade in the crease to make the look lean more into the green. But I like it this way because it feels very, very neutral. It looks almost silver from far away, but then when you get close up, you can see the blue and green reflection. I love that colorful neutral balance. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope that this was a fun little chill time for you like it was for me. I always appreciate you being here. There's so much stuff that you could do with your time, and you're spending some of your precious time watching something that I made. I just think that's so nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. I would love to hear what type of things you always put in your travel makeup bag. What palette combos are you loving right now? I always love to hear what you think about things too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Okay, time to say something now. Oh boy. Is this going to be a rambly one? We'll see. Hold on, let me get my water. I dropped my brush. I dropped something. I'm okay. Whew. Ta-da! That, wet. Nailed it. Spoopy pumpkins with a little cute little star. So sad that it's almost Halloween because I don't want it to be over. I want it to just still be spoopy season. Also, I have not finished my costume yet. So, wish me luck on that. It'll be great. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be great. Okay, that's it. I will see ya soon. Hope you have a great day. Love your face. Remember that no matter what your skin looks like, it's beautiful. It's holding all your parts in, and that's really the most important thing. So take care of it. Wear sunscreen. Don't forget to wash your brushes and sponges. And I love your face, and you should love it too because it's awesome. Okay, bye.